Number 1. Now these all your questions or your classmates help with some of them?
The class did it.
They're all good questions here. Have I finally made a law to stop smoking with kids in the car? Well, I bet you don't. Oh, I missed one, didn't I? But we'll go to this one first. Have I made a law to stop smoking with kids in the car? I'll bet you know the answer to that, don't you? And what's the answer?
No.
No? Well, for most kids, the answer is probably yes.
Yeah.
Because we've done a couple of things with smoking. We all know smoking's bad, right? Yeah. Don't smoke. You're not going to smoke, are you? No, I'm not smoking. And so we've said a couple of things. We've tried to let everybody know that smoking's really bad. We've also said that don't be sitting right beside people who are smoking because that can be bad for you too. And so we made a law so that people can't smoke inside public buildings like this. Like, in the old days, it used to be that somebody would sit down at a desk like this and we'd all have a conversation and they'd be smoking away. None of us would be smoking, but we'd get to breathe it all in. And that it turns out that that's bad for you too. So we made that law. And then we've made a law so that the driver of a car or person in a car can't be smoking when there are young kids in the car. Because the kids don't usually have a choice about getting out of the car. So we say to the driver, you need to be waiting until the kids are out of the car before you smoke. So that's a good thing. That's in now. We brought that in. We took a lot of good advice from people like you and others and your classmates and said, you know what, we've got to do something about that.
We didn't know whether or not it had been passed yet. We knew that it had been introduced.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, we passed it and we've introduced it and we're working away. Now, I missed one here. Is talking on the phone in your car while driving a law now? That's a really good question. It's not a law yet. So, everybody's got these things now, right? I didn't, when I was your age, we never heard of these things. We never heard of computers. So now, of course, with these things, I can call anybody. I can actually call somebody and, I can call or email people all over the world, as you know. You're on computers all the time, you two probably, right? Always with your parents' permission, of course. But what happens now is that people they're sort of doing this while they're driving the car, which of course means that they're driving with one hand, they're really paying attention to the phone, right? And that's a bit of a problem. And it gets even worse when they realize they've got to sort of, if you want to start the thing up, you've got to hit one button, and then you want to make a telephone call, you've got to hit another, and all the while you're supposed to be driving, right? And watching the road. So it gets pretty dangerous. So we thought, it's probably not a good idea if people are driving in a car and speaking on something they have to hold in their hand. You're really supposed to have two hands on the wheel. So we've brought in a law that's not passed yet. Yeah.
Can't you put earphones in them?
Exactly right. We brought in a law that says you can't hold something while you're driving. But if you've got it sitting somewhere else and you've got one of those, the Bluetooth, one of those little earphones, you can still drive, and so you can still be speaking away. It'll look a little funny to the people who drive up beside you. They'll look over and they'll see you speaking away. Oh yeah, well I'm speaking to my parents now and driving along, and how was your day? And they'll wonder who you're talking to. But that's okay. That'll be okay when the law's passed. You think that's a good idea? What do you think? Do you? Yeah? Yeah? What about you?
Yeah.
You think it's a good idea? Yeah. Any other questions you've got? No? Well, this was really good for me. I really want to thank you for, first of all, I want to thank you for the work that you did. I think it was absolutely great. I want to thank both of you for coming down. I want to thank both of you for asking all these questions.